Welcome to episode 6, part 2 of Views from a Business Leader. In this episode, we continue to talk to Mike Berkshire, who is the Managing Director of ITS. So from your own perspective, Mike, is there any advice that you feel that you could give other business leaders in relation to any of the business loans that are out there, any of the business government advice that's coming through, that's being filtered down to business? Is there anything that you've experienced that you could pass on?
Yeah, I think one of the things is best bit of advice I could probably ever give anybody is, first of all, you can't control what's going on, but you can control what you do about it. And when this virus first hit, as I said before, I remember saying to my fiance, I'm very scared. I said, but then I went away, and that lasted for about an hour. And then I went away and thought, right, where is this all going? What do I need to do? What's going to, to protect the business, my team, their families? What can we do? And actually, what I think is really important is it's very important as a business leader to not put your head in the sand and to not hesitate. You're going to have to make some difficult decisions. So, I'm always been very open about the things that we do. And one of the things that, we decided that we wouldn't quite adhere to the working from home rules at the beginning, because we're a food manufacturer and we're manufacturing hand sanitizer. So we said, let's watch this and let's keep an eye on it. Let's reduce our risks gradually down, and let's just keep watching it. But the other thing that I think is really important in this environment, and I think this is the bit that a lot of businesses don't quite understand, because it's not been communicated well enough. If you look at the bank situation, and we've got a very, very good relationship with our bank. We use Barclays, got a good relationship with them. We've done a lot of good stuff with them, and the banks are in a tough position too. They get a lot of bad press, but they've got a lot going on. They've got a lot of companies, right down to airlines, and who are in chronic need of cash to survive. They've got some major issues. We were in a situation where my take on this is there's a number of mechanisms that are available, and if you don't use them, I think opting to take a loan is really should be towards your last resort. So actually what you need to do is, so for example, what have I done? I've pushed my own personal mortgage out for 3 months. We've encouraged our staff to do that. We said, look, go away and have a look at it. It's not ideal, but look, what you need to do, and I advised all my team, and I quite enjoy looking at markets and finance and things. And I said to them all, look, the most important thing in your life at the moment is liquidity. You need to make sure you have cash and you have low costs. And actually, if you do that, you'll be all right. What you don't want is all your money tied up in your house. As much as it sounds great to have your money in your house, you probably just need to make sure that if you've got a mortgage, you can pay it, you can defer payments, or if you want to, it's up to you. We did the same here on our unit. We've looked at taking a break on the mortgage at the unit. We've taken advantage of the VAT delay scheme.
Yeah.
I've also taken advantage of delaying my own personal tax bill, and the HMRC are supportive of that. So, you need to push out everything you can push out. And as we say, get it onto the long finger, as they say, and give yourself a bit more room for the next 3 months. Yes, you're going to, do it. You're going to have situations where that's going to impact you down the line, but do it to the level you need it. And then the other thing, and it's the F word that no one talks about, is furloughing. And I take a view on the furloughing that, no one wants to do it. Okay, but I think what you have to do is you have to look long and hard at your business and say, are all of my team busy all of the time? And if we're in a situation where our trade has dropped 40%, certain functions of our business are going to be impacted by that. We might, for example, in our business, and it's a hard decision, but if we get into a situation where there is, we've got countries like Dubai where we've got people based there that are on complete lockdown. So they're on a lockdown to another level, on what they're doing. So that has an impact on you and the way that you do business. We've also got examples in other countries. We've got people in Spain, and those situations again were really hard lockdowns. And then in the UK, we've looked at our business and said, okay, if we were to look at our group of people, the workload has dropped, and it's been very soul searching. We've had to sit down as a heads of, I have a heads of team, and everyone's had to sit down and do some soul searching. But the other thing we've done, and we've had to furlough some, and we've taken it very much as a temporary view. And then the intention then is to look at it. We're looking at it week by week. We're still keeping in touch with everybody that's furloughed. Obviously, they can't work, but what we are doing is we are supporting them to do courses. So if they want to do development courses and they want to do reading on what they're working on, and they want to go online, we're looking at how we can tool them up while they're off.
Yeah,
and keep
it's a great way to keep them moving, isn't it? And keep them, because one part of the issue I think for many people is if they're at home and being furloughed, they sort of just be watching Netflix, and it's like mind-numbingly boring. And to keep them motivated and keep your staff skilled and learning new skills, training and investing in training is a fantastic way to do it.
It is, and I think it's things like those in this current climate, it's the greatest time for personal development. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a great opportunity to go away, do some research, learn something new, learn a new hobby, learn some new things, new skills, tool up on your online courses, tool up on your use of databases and Excel and marketing, and learn more about social media. There's a great opportunity to tool up. And I think we got our team together and we talked to everyone, and I have to say it's probably the toughest day of my career so far. And given that we'd always been growing, and given that we had to sit down and do that, so we've gone through that process and we're reviewing it. On the flip side of it, we've been busy maintaining and growing, trying to grow the business we've got. But again, our customers are feeling the same pinch. They're in a situation where their trade's dropping off. Yeah. So they some are up, some are down. It's tough all-round industry.
Do you think your business businesses will ever be the same in terms of how they operate and how they work now?
I think that's a really, really good question. I think one of the things that I've realised is, through all of this, we now know that one of the fundamentals is probably got to change is the amount of travel, the amount of costs of air travel and travel. And we travel a lot, like a lot of companies. I think there's going to be an increasing amount of conferencing, which is really important. I think is good. I think there's going to be a longer, harder look at the way that you do business and you do projects. And also, I don't think it's ever at the detriment of the customer. I think a lot of it is about having those dialogues with customers, saying, look, we used to work like this. What we're thinking is maybe we could work this way. What do you think? Yeah. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's about going out and actually upping some of that more human stuff. At the moment, I'm not quite sure, because we're looking and thinking, well, actually, I think the conferencing thing is a good thing. I think customers, seem to be quite responsive to it. So I think the way we do business is going to change. I think for anyone that's in consumer goods, I think D2C is, direct to customer is where they need to go. And I think it's really interesting. I think that the big retailers have got bigger problems now, because actually more and more brands are saying, right, we need direct to customer. We need to be very strong on Amazon. We need to have our own D2C. And actually, I think what's actually happened now is that's created a very different market. We've also seen as well, Joe, that some of the food service operators that were supplying restaurants are now want to become supermarkets. So they've said, well, if we can't sell to restaurants and hotels, we'll sell to the public and we'll open up as a supermarket.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of going to change the retail landscape. It's really going to change it. Yeah. And habits are going to change, definitely.
Yeah, the new norm is what they're talking about, isn't it? And I think it's going to be really interesting. Look, Mike, I really appreciate all your insight. I think you've been very open, very candid, very the advice you've provided has been fantastic as well, and it's been a really good conversation. So thank you very much. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Just one last question. If you were to give one piece of advice in one sentence to business owners, directors, leaders out there, what would it be?
You've got to fight really hard. And, I think one of the things I've seen with other owners of businesses is you've got to go back to the way you used to be when you started, where you haven't got anything and you've got to fight and you've got to put the 18-hour days in. You've got to get your team behind you. And one of the things that we've noticed in our business, Joe, and it's probably a closing point, it probably adds to what we were talking about before. At the end of this, we're going to have a very multi-talented team at ITS and in the other businesses I'm involved in, because what we've done is we've said to people, we need you to help. You're going to have to go and help in the factory today. We need you to help in that department. So people that have probably never, ever had that opportunity, and we're finding some real star moments. And what we're going to end up with is a wonderful, fluid business where someone says, actually, I'll go and work in the factory this afternoon. Yeah, I'll go and help. And isn't that what it's all about? And I have to say, as hard as it is, and I keep saying this to everyone I talk to, you know, you've got to make sure that you just get on and make the decisions that you need to make, protect your team and look after your team, because that's the most valuable thing that you have. And then the other thing that you've got to do is you've got to fight, and you've got to get up and you've got to go to work and you've got to fight. And actually, if you encounter a problem, you've got to find a way to go round it or a way to go straight through it. And sometimes, and I keep saying this as well, solve the biggest problems and you get the biggest rewards. And actually, this is the biggest problem I think we're probably going to face for a while. And I also think, Joe, we might see more of this in the future. We might see a COVID-20. We might get one a year, you know, and I think we've got to start to think as business owners, what does that actually look like, you know?
Yeah, I think preparing for this in the future will certainly be at the forefront of business owners' minds, definitely. Mike, really appreciate it. Thank you ever so much. I know you're busy, so good luck and look forward to seeing you soon.
Good stuff, and good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers, Mike.
Thanks.